Actually, this year, the best place for us to learn about the Trinity is out here. We've been isolated from each other now for months. It's an unnatural way for us to be. It's not the way we're designed. And we know that it's been, in some ways, harmful. We've been alone. We've been separated from each other in ways that we're just not supposed to be. The great 5th century theologian Augustine wrote a long book about the Trinity, 14 chapters that took him 28 years to write. He would have spent longer, except somebody finally took the manuscript out of his study and started circulating it because they thought it was so important to share. Augustine's great insight was that we had been made in the image and likeness of God, and if we were going to have access to some kind of proof of the truth of the Trinity, we would probably wind up having to look inside ourselves to find some trace, some impress of the triune nature of God in our very souls, in the way that humans were made. And he found it. He talked at length about how that Trinitarian nature of God had its reflection in us. You could say that Augustine was one of the first cognitive psychologists because he sees in the way we experience love an essential trinity, the trinity between the person who's loving, the one who is loved, and the love that connects them. Augustine weaves this theme many, many ways and in many different kinds of styles. But ultimately, what he's saying is the truth of God is in some way reflected in us because we're made in the image and likeness of God. But having been alone for all this time, having been isolated for all of these months, what might that teach us about God? Well, one of the things that's clearly true is that we're not meant to be alone. We're not meant to be isolated and by ourselves. We're meant to be in relationship. We're designed, hardwired to be in relationship with other humans. And that is something true about God as well. That's Augustine's great insight, that God is an essential relationship between the different expressions of God within the Trinity. So the thing that we learn about God from this time of isolation and being alone is that God is not alone. God is one divine entity in 3 persons that are in eternal conversation, eternal relationship with each other. We speak of these in traditional language as the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, but in our own day, we might instead speak of them, and often do, as the Creator, the Redeemer, and the Sanctifier. Not one of those things makes sense without the other. Altogether, they make the single unified God that we proclaim, a God of one being in 3 persons, in eternal relationship, a fact reflected in us because we are designed to be in relationship. And so now that we're coming back into relationship with each other, we see this truth about God reflected in us, this necessity we have of being together, of being in relationship, of being in community as faithful people with each other. I'd love to join them, but I have to go finish this sermon.